All right, as I often discuss on Washington Watch, Christians are not called to stand on the sidelines. Our republic was made not for spectators, but for participants. And as Christians, all right, we each have gifts from God that we're able to use in His service. Now, many Christians claim, I don't do politics, or that they just focus on relationships or spreading the gospel. Well, you know what? It's all of the above. This does not change our calling from God to be salt and to be light. You know, this country was built on Christian principles. The founders thought the Bible was good enough to build a nation on. It's good enough to guide a nation by today. We shouldn't shrink back from that. Join me now in studio to discuss this is author and speaker Christy Stutzman, who recently released a new book entitled The Spiritual Price of Political Silence. Christy, welcome back to Washington Watch. Good to see you.
It's so good to see you. Thank you.
And you've got a little experience in the political realm. You yourself, you served in the legislature. Your husband served in Congress and advanced these same types of values.
Right.
Let's talk about this. But I want to read the preface to just a portion of the preface to the book. You say, we must not fail to acknowledge that the ultimate goal of those who wrote and created the founding documents and crafted our unique form of government was to create a nation based on God's divine moral law.
Exactly. And they said it over and over and over again. As I did a deep dive into their original documents, their letters, what they said, it's very clear. They only, and they said it many times just, in passing. They would say, this is only made for a moral people.
Yeah, John Adams said that. He said that our Constitution was made for a moral and religious people. It's wholly inadequate for the government of any other.
Right.
Speaker Mike Johnson made that statement. In fact, if you ever run for speaker, just know that they're going to pull this preface in the book,
yes.
And they're going to go through it, and they're going to call you a Christian nationalist.
That's right. That's right. That's their new word, by the way. Yeah, they're using that everywhere as well. Just try whatever they can to make others, just create division and, paint people in a light that tries to denigrate what they're standing for, and it's everywhere.
Part of this is typical leftist viewpoints.
Right.
If you can't argue the merits of the subject, you go to name calling.
Yes, exactly. That's what they've sunk to. Yeah.
So let's talk about Christians today in America, where we see this rising hostility toward the Christian faith. What are we to do?
I think we need to be bold. I think we need to stand firmly in what we believe, and we need to know what we believe and why we believe it first. So the first part of the book talks about our Judeo-Christian founding, and it talks about, it shares the original documents and statements from our founders, and it's very, very clear how many people came to this country seeking religious freedom. My own ancestors did. They were coming here because they were tired of being persecuted and run out of their own homes over in Europe, and they were seeking some place where they could worship God according to their own conscience. So that was always, part of their reasoning for establishing this country. And it continues today. I mean, we can't stop. We have to be bold and we have to be sure, about what we believe in our rights and how we have the ability to still stand and still be bold. And, we have to get our own house in order first before we can help others. And we have helped so many people around the world. I was in Israel a few years ago, and our guide took us to the Mount of Beatitudes, and we read Matthew 5. And when we got to the part where it says, you're the light of the world, you're the salt of the earth, he looked at us and he said, I just want you to know as a citizen of Israel that America has done this thing that Jesus said, you have been a light to the world. But I want to ask you, please don't stop. And I had to think, why is he asking that? It's because the world is watching. That's why.
Certainly is. And it's not always seeing the right thing.
Yes.
And I think the light is flickering.
Exactly. Yeah.
In this nation. But I don't want to run out of time before. How can folks get a copy of the book?
So they can get a copy on Amazon. It's available now. It's released December 5th, so tomorrow. Endgame Press is a publisher. And anywhere, usually where books are sold online, they can find it there.
So, Christy, what was the motivation for writing this book?
Well, I heard so many people say, I don't do politics, just like you said earlier. And they don't like the ugliness and the divisiveness. But you know what? It's actually our birthright as Americans to be involved in our government. That was something that was assumed.
But it's only ugly and divisive if we're not in it, bringing unity and bringing righteousness.
Yes.
I mean,
and it's easier than you think. It's
it
really
is.
easy.
I mean, you've done it.
I mean, I'm a fine arts teacher. You know, I mean, if I can be involved, anybody can be involved. And, you know, so it's definitely easier than you think. And in the back of the book, I kind of share a step-by-step how to be involved in little ways, big ways, whatever you want to do.
And to think, you know, I don't like conflict. You know, I'm adverse to conflict, but the Lord brought me into the political realm 25 years ago. But it doesn't always have to be conflict. I mean, it's relationship driven. And I think people are afraid to get in it because they don't like the ugly things that are said. You got to look beyond that and just start building relationships and making a difference. Someone's values is going to
win the day. Yeah. Yes, exactly. I share the story in my book about my 7 times great-grandmother. Her last words to her family were, "Be valiant for truth." And, you know, truth is what I'm hoping people will get from this book, and then also have the tools to use that truth to make a difference.
Wow. Wow, what a great story. Christy Stutzman, let me thank you for stopping by and joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
The spiritual price of political silence. Folks, be a great Christmas present. All right, tell Marlon I said hi.
I will. Thank you.
All right.